Could your next trip to the United States be in jeopardy? It might sound outlandish, like something a screaming eagle warns about before dramatically clutching a hamburger in its talons. But the truth is, the geopolitical landscape is shifting, and with it, the possibility of future travel bans. We're not talking about temporary visa restrictions here, people. We're talking about the kind of ban that could make crossing the border harder than finding a decent bagel outside of New York City. Over the next few minutes, we're diving deep into this unsettling trend, exploring 10 countries that might just find themselves on America's travel naughty list. Buckle up because things are about to get uncomfortably real. And if you value accurate information presented with a side of uncomfortable laughter, well, then subscribing to this channel is clearly the only logical next step. First up, we're heading over to Country 1, a nation known for its mention a prominent feature of the country, for example, stunning beaches, vibrant culture, delicious cuisine. But beneath the beauty, and reiterate the prominent feature, lies a simmering tension with the United States fueled by, mention the primary reason for potential travel ban. For example, political disagreements, trade disputes, human rights concerns. Now I know what you're thinking, John. Are you suggesting that America would actually punish an entire country for reiterate the reason? And to that, I say, have you met America? We've weaponized everything from tariffs to Taylor Swift concerts, so frankly nothing is off the table. The situation is further complicated by, mention a specific event or policy contributing to the tension. This has led some analysts to believe that a travel ban on Country 1 might not be a matter of if, but when. Next, we find ourselves in Country 2, a nation once a staunch United States ally. Those days might be gone, my friends. The relationship has spiraled due to primary reason for potential travel ban. This was exacerbated by specific event or policy. Some experts see it as a temporary spat, others as a deeper rift. Our third stop takes us to Country 3, a nation that finds itself in a rather unfortunate geopolitical predicament. You see, Country 3 isn't necessarily at odds with the United States directly. In fact, they make a rather lovely, mention a product or cultural export from Country 3. No, their potential travel ban woes stem from their close ties to, mention a country or entity already subject to United States sanctions or restrictions. It's like being grounded because your best friend cheated on a history test. Except instead of missing out on a school dance, you're facing economic isolation and the inability to visit the land of oversized sodas and questionable healthcare. The United States has been increasingly pressuring its allies to distance themselves from, mention the sanctioned country or entity, and Country 3, well, they're not exactly known for their backbone. So, will they choose loyalty over access to American cheeseburgers? Only time will tell. Hold on to your smartphones, folks, because we're about to enter the world of technological espionage and high-stakes data wars as we turn our attention to Country 4. This tech-savvy nation has found itself in America's crosshairs due to its advancements in, mention the specific technology or industry. The US government, with all the subtlety of a rhinoceros in a china shop, has accused Country 4 of using this technology for nefarious purposes, like, mention the alleged malicious activities, for example spying on citizens, stealing intellectual property, undermining national security. Now, Country 4 vehemently denies these allegations, claiming they're just trying to make the world a better, more technologically advanced place. But the damage, it seems, has been done. The US has already implemented restrictions on mention existing restrictions, for example technology exports, investments, and a full-blown travel ban might just be the next step in this digital duel. Our journey now takes us to Country 5, a nation grappling with a complex human rights situation. Now, before we delve into this, let me preface this by saying that criticizing a country's human rights record is a bit like trying to explain the plot of Inception after a few too many margaritas. It's complicated, messy, and bound to leave everyone feeling a little confused and disoriented. The US has expressed deep concerns over Country 5, its handling of mentioned specific human rights issues, for example freedom of speech, treatment of minorities, political prisoners. These concerns have been amplified by mentioned specific events or policies contributing to the concerns. While the US hasn't explicitly threatened a travel ban, it has imposed sanctions in the past for similar transgressions. So whether Country 5 will face the full brunt of America's displeasure, Well, that remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, the situation is far from ideal. We're now heading over to Country 6, a nation blessed with an abundance of, mention the valuable resource. For example, oil, minerals, rare earth elements. You might think having valuable resources would make a country immune to travel bans. But the US might disagree. Country 6 uses its reiterate the resource reserves as leverage in negotiations. They've mentioned specific actions taken by Country 6, for example, threatened to cut off supplies, formed alliances with US rivals, imposed export restrictions. This has rubbed the US the wrong way. So a travel ban isn't entirely outside the realm of possibility. After all, this is international diplomacy, where logic often takes a back seat to ego. Our journey takes a somber turn as we arrive in Country 7, a nation grappling with the devastating consequences of conflict. Now I know what you're thinking. John, this is a video about travel bans, not a geopolitical TED Talk. And you're right to an extent. But here's the thing. Conflict and instability often go hand in hand with travel restrictions. The US government understandably wants to protect its citizens from potential dangers abroad. And when a country is embroiled in a war or civil unrest, well, it's not exactly the ideal vacation destination. The situation in Country 7 is particularly complex due to mentioned specific factors contributing to the conflict. For example, foreign involvement, ethnic tensions, political instability. The US has already issued travel warnings for Country 7, and a full-blown ban might not be far behind, especially if the situation deteriorates further. Hold on to your hats, folks, because things are about to get a bit nuclear as we turn our attention to Country 8. This nation has been at the center of international controversy due to its pursuit of, mention the specific nuclear activities. For example, nuclear weapons program, uranium enrichment. Now, I'm not a nuclear physicist, but I'm pretty sure messing around with atoms is generally frowned upon in the international community. The US, along with many other countries, has condemned Country 8's actions, imposing sanctions and demanding they cease their nuclear shenanigans. Country 8, however, remains defiant, arguing they have a right to mention their justification. For example, self-defense, peaceful energy production. This standoff has created a highly volatile situation, and a travel ban, while extreme, could be used as a way to further pressure Country 8 to comply with international demands. Welcome to the digital battleground, everyone, as we explore the case of Country 9. This nation has gained notoriety for its prowess in cyberspace, but not necessarily in a good way. The US has accused Country 9 of engaging in malicious cyber activities ranging from hacking government agencies, stealing intellectual property, spreading disinformation. Now, cyber warfare is a tricky beast. It's often difficult to attribute attacks with certainty, and the lines between espionage, sabotage, and plain old mischief can be blurry. However, the US seems convinced that Country 9 is up to no good in the digital realm, and they've vowed to respond accordingly. While a full-blown travel ban might seem like an extreme measure, it's not entirely out of the question, especially if the US believes it will deter future cyber attacks. Our final stop takes us to Country 10, a nation that finds itself caught in a geopolitical tug-of-war. You see, Country 10 is a close ally of, mention a country or entity already subject to US sanctions or restrictions. And while Country 10 hasn't necessarily done anything to directly provoke the US, their loyalty to, reiterate the sanctioned country or entity, might be their downfall. The US has been increasingly pressuring its allies to distance themselves from, reiterate the sanctioned country or entity, and Country 10 is facing a difficult choice side with their longtime friend, or risk facing the wrath of the US. A travel ban, in this case, would be a way for the US to send a clear message: choose your friends wisely or face the consequences. So, there you have it, folks. 10 countries teetering on the brink of a US travel ban. Now, I know this might seem like a lot to digest, especially if you were hoping for a video about, say, cute puppies or the history of the spork. But the truth is, these geopolitical shifts have real-world consequences. They impact everything from trade and diplomacy to, yes, even your ability to travel freely. That's why it's more important than ever to stay informed and protect your travel plans by subscribing to our channel. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest developments, no matter how unsettling they may be. And who knows, Maybe we'll even throw in a cute puppy video or two just to lighten the mood.